Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Wine. Welcome back to art class. Today we are going to be learning how to make a practice print. Another name for a practice print is called a proof. So today we're going to be making a proof so that we know how to better do our final prints. So the materials you will need today are you will need some white paper, with your name on it. Once you've taken, I'm going to say today, 2 sheets of white paper and put your name on both sheets, you can set those sheets aside for a moment. You're going to need your printing plate. For us, that's going to be the sheet where you glued all the different textured materials down. You are going to need a registration plate. This has the directions and tells us what to do and how to line things up. Now, you also don't need your registration plate right now, so you can set it aside. And before you start inking your plate, you need a tray with some ink. I will be giving you the ink, and today we're just going to use some disposable trays. And you will need a special roller called a brayer. It's also a good idea to have some cleanup supplies handy because printing can be messy. So let's get started. I'm going to set my printing plate aside for a moment, and the first work to be done is with the brayer. So what I want to do with the brayer is I'm just going to take this ink and I'm going to roll it out on my tray. I don't want to roll all the ink, so I'm just going to put my brayer down into the ink, pick up a little bit, and then I'm going to start to roll it on the tray. And I like to roll vertically and horizontally. And I just want to make sure that I get a thin, even layer of ink, not so much on my tray, but I'm trying to make sure I get a thin, even layer of ink on that brayer. When I need a little more ink, I can come back and pick up a little more. And again, I'm rolling vertically and horizontally. Now, if you listen carefully, you can hear that ink starts to get sticky. And that's a good sign. That means the ink is ready to use. I'm going to pick up just a little more. So I'm rolling vertically and horizontally. I can hear how sticky it sounds, and then I know I'm ready to ink my printing plate. So I'm going to move my brayer to the side, and I'm going to bring my printing plate down. Notice I have it on newspaper. And now I'm going to take my brayer, and right away you can see that I didn't have some of my objects glued down securely enough. If that happens, just try to put it right back down. So that's one reason we're doing this, is we want to know, did we get enough glue on our objects to hold them down? I see I'm going to have several problems here. It also lets us know maybe the glue held some objects better than the others. Now, if I start to run out of ink, I just pick up more ink and I quickly roll it out. Making sure it's nice and even, and then I'm going to come back and finish rolling the objects on my printing plate. Now, as you can imagine, the person that's doing this rolling is going to be getting a little bit messy. So once I have all of the objects inked, remember, I'm not so much concerned about the background. I really just want to make sure that I get enough ink on all of those objects. then I'm ready to start printing. And then all I have to do is I'm going to take all of this and move it away. Then I'm going to get my registration plate. Now this is where you have to work with a partner, because one of you is going to have dirty hands, and if you have dirty hands, you don't want to be touching the paper. So if I'm the person with dirty hands, I'm going to put the printing plate down inside of this square. Then my partner, who has clean hands, is going to be the one to take the paper. When you put the paper down, you want to make sure that you can see your name on the paper, because you want to print on the empty side. Then the person with clean hands is going to use their hands to rub that print. And you have to firmly rub the paper. So I really want to make sure that I get that whole paper rubbed. Because the idea is I'm trying to transfer that ink to my white paper. And I want to make sure I don't leave any areas off. Sometimes you can kind of feel the textures underneath your fingers. When you're all the way finished, you're going to pull the paper carefully off of your printing plate. Some of your textures you might need to kind of help hold down. And when you do that, you can see the different textures that the objects were able to create. Then you're ready to start all over again. So I've asked you to make 2 prints. When you're finished, you take your printing plate, you move it back to the newspaper, and you simply start over inking your objects again, and then you make another print. When you're all the way finished, the last thing to do is to take the wipes, clean off any ink that got on the registration plates, and clean off any ink that got on your hands. I hope you have a wonderful week. I cannot wait to see the proofs that you create. And until next time, keep on creating.